So I'm reading Fahrenheit 451. I'm in the process of reading it, and I'm seeing some parallels from like what is happening to the book with is what's happening in today's society, which is like beating what's beating a mallet on a dead horse or beating a dead horse at this point. I feel like so many people have made the connection between for Fahrenheit 451 to present day. So I want to do something different, and I want to discuss the parallels that I see between Fahrenheit 451 and specifically talk about the parallels I see with how we are treating feminism in today's society, especially in this decade of the 2020s when tradwife is in, when manosphere is in, because I see a lot of parallels. And I'm not going to go into like a deep synopsis about what Fahrenheit 451 is about, but there is one thing that keeps being brought up in the story time and time again that really stood out to me, and it's Montauk. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. That's how I say it, Montauk. He's questioning everything. He doesn't like burning books anymore because that's what they do in Fahrenheit 451. They burn books so that people can always be happy because it's stated multiple times that books make people uncomfortable. Books make people sad. Books make people think too much. They make people think too deeply, and it makes life more complicated and complex. Things should be simple and happy and easygoing, and knowledge destroys rather than empowers. So that is the whole point of the book. The book is that books are bad, books need to be burned, nobody should have a thought, ignorance is bliss. That is what the book is about. And I see the parallels with feminism because feminism is out right now. People don't really like to be considered a feminist. It's kind of gross to be considered a feminist. And why is that? Is because the media for so long has been projecting this idea. Well, look at feminists. They're always angry and mean all the time. They're always miserable. They're sad and they're always yelling and they're shouting. Who would want to be a feminist? Nobody wants to be around feminists. They're always depressed. And that's kind of like the parallel with like the feminists in this scenario are like the books. Having this deeper knowledge of women empowerment and the patriarchy makes you this depressing, miserable shell of a human. So you shouldn't learn about these things because if you learn about these things, nobody wants to be around you. You are now considered a pariah, just like the readers are in Fahrenheit 451. If you are caught reading, you are a pariah, your house gets burned down, and you get arrested. That is your punishment for this heinous crime of reading a book. So I see the parallels. Nobody wants to be called a feminist right now. Not when tradwife is in and the manosphere guys are taking over talking about high value women don't overstep men or whatever the hell they talk about. I don't even know. I'm seeing so many videos about what it means to be a feminine woman, and feminine women receive. They are cared for. They are provided for. They don't go out and hustle. Women don't hustle. We're feminine. We can't hustle. God forbid we freaking hustle. If I have to hear one more thing about comparing the male 24-hour cycle compared to the female 30-day cycle, I think I would be the first modern day witch burning. I would be like, yo, you know what? Actually, no. I'm not gonna say that because I actually don't want to be burned at the stake. But you get my point. You get my point. You get my point. I would jump off a building. Okay, if I can't deal with it anymore. This idea that like women are less feminine if they want to work towards something, if they want to have ambition and they want to be assertive and they want to take place. They want to have a place in male dominated spheres. Like I don't understand this idea. And then of course, what do? Soft feminine women get the man. That is a surefire way into manipulating women into believing in these scenarios. Well, if I have to be a nurturing housekeeper because I finally get the love that I deserve, then so be it. Romance will always get a woman. Romance will always get a woman. So many women prefer romance over freedom. I was not born with that. I was not born with that mentality. Sometimes I look at these romantic women and I say to myself, what would it be like to really believe in romance like that deeply? Like, I believe in love, but they believe in love. Like, it's their religion. And I'm like, what would it be like if I were able to believe in love that deeply? Because for some reason, this is just how I was born. I will always put my freedom first. And it's not even like freedom of like, oh, I get to do whatever the hell I want. It's like my freedom to make my own decisions, to have my own thoughts and opinions. And those are really like important to me, the freedom to express myself fully, because I'm just seeing a lot of women around and they stifle themselves so much for the man. But anyways, going back to Fahrenheit 451, there is this character called Mildred, and that is Montague's wife, and she is sitting in this living room. It's called the parlor. And in the parlor, she has 3 like big television screens taken up the wall. And it's like, and she keeps referring to like the people on the screen as her family. They're her family. And like, this is what she does all day. She consumes the people on these big screen TVs. And you know, it's like so crazy because like to us, like this is like, okay, yeah, whatever. But this was like made in like the 20th century, like early 20th century. So like, this is like something that is like dystopian for this guy. For us, it's our reality. But like to him, this is like dystopia. So it just shows you the trajectory that we went to in society. So like so she's there and she's just like so ignorant to everything. Books are bad, and it's just like this consuming of like, I need to consume surface level things. Because if I think deeply, it will cause so much discomfort and pain in me. And that's how I feel about feminism, because once you get deeper into feminism and you leave like the surface level shit behind, it does get a little dark. Seeing what women have had to go through, when you look at like the statistics of like female suicide compared to when the laws finally allowed no-fault divorce, when you look at like the statistics of like domestic abuse and like just all of these things, what women had to go through before the laws started working in our favor, it does make you upset. And that's why you got a lot of screaming, shouting, miserable feminists, if you will. And it's so much easier to not open that door, to not open that Pandora's box, and to stay closed and hidden to a very dark history. It's, you know what, I was just talking to my mother about this, and I was saying how hatred is scary. Hatred is scary. People that hate certain groups, whether that be women, whether that be the LGBTQ plus community, whether that be Black people, whether that be people of color, immigrants, etc., etc. People that hate these marginalized groups, they're scary. But you know who's also just as scary? The people that are indifferent. And what I was getting from this story is that Mildred, she doesn't like hate books. She's afraid of them because they're against the law to have, but she doesn't hate books. She's very indifferent towards it. She doesn't really care if they exist in her vicinity. She just cares about being in this parlor with 3 big screen TVs mounted up on her wall, having them blasted at high volume so that she can enjoy the family that is on the screen, the family that she considers her family, right? And I think indifference is so scary because, okay, like, I don't think a lot of people hate women. I don't think a lot of people hate feminism, but a lot of people are indifferent to both. You have a lot of women and young girls that are indifferent to feminism because it's seen as, like, awful. If you are a feminist, if you like feminism, if you are into feminism, if you want to speak up for women's rights, if you want to speak up about women's issues, you are seen as like this like weird woman that just likes to be miserable. Like, it's almost like, you know, they love to say like, well, like, feminism is over, we have everything that we need. But I don't agree with that, because if that was true, the manosphere would not exist right now, where they absolutely annihilate women on a daily basis. Like, that is like a feminist issue, that is a woman's issue, having like a mainstream like group of people completely bashing women constantly. That is a feminist issue, that is a woman's issue. And maybe it's not on the same league as fighting for voting rights or fighting to have our own bank accounts, but it's still important because it still demeans and dehumanizes women. And so, like, to sit here and be like, well, like, feminism doesn't really need to exist anymore. I'm really indifferent to feminism. Never be indifferent to feminism, because I always say this in my head, like, my rights are not God-given. They had to be fought for, and they could be easily taken away by the wrong person that is in office. And I'm not here to fearmonger. I don't think that's happening anytime soon, but it can. And this route that we're going through, where it's slowly chipping away at, like, the need for feminism or the importance of feminism, people don't fully understand why feminism is important in the first place, and it's slowly chipping away. Like, when you see pretty women dressed up in, like, these cute 1950s outfits, and they look so polished, and they're showing you the great life on the farm, and great life with their children, and great life baking and cooking and cleaning, it's like Mildred in that parlor with these 3 TVs blasting in her ears, colors just ruining her eyeballs. It's giving you this false illusion that you are somehow safe, that you are somehow a part of something that is comforting, when you're not. You're just living in ignorance. You're just living in a bubble that's not real. It's not real. Like, I like to call it, like, pseudo-traditionalism, because there's nothing traditional about, like, a woman cosplaying a 1950s, like, housewife and then making money off of it. Like, that's not traditional, babes. But whatever, you do you. You do you. But, it's just, like, it's just so crazy. Like, I'm seeing the parallels, and I'm not scripting this video, but I think I'm doing very well at articulating myself. And I'm gonna give myself a little pat on the back, because I hate making non-scripted videos. That was a tangent. That was a side tangent. But whatever. I can do what I want. But yeah, I just see the parallels of feminism. And I think you could apply this for anything. Like, just like, history is dark. Knowledge can make you spiral. We see it with the sciences. We see it with history. We see it with these social issues. But it is important to know. And I want to leave this note, this message. Happiness is not the goal. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but happiness is not the goal. Happiness is just another feeling, and it comes with sadness and anger and frustration and disappointment and excitedness and joy. But happiness is not a destination. It is just a feeling, and it will come and it will go. And you should not hide yourself from the things that will make you less happy. It is good to be angry sometimes. It is good to be disappointed. It is good to fail. It is good to be sad, because those moments help you grow as well. Happiness makes you grow as well. I'm not here to undermine happiness. Happiness is important. Love is important. Friendship, community, all the joyous things also help you grow. But don't undermine the painful stuff too. History is important even when it has its dark times. It should make you uncomfortable. You should feel discomforted by some of the things that have happened in history. You should feel upset about some of the things that happen to marginalized groups. It should make you angry, and you should not hide away from these things. And that is what I'm learning about Fahrenheit 451 the most, is that when you are ignorant, it's blissful. You don't have to worry as much or be as scared or be as uncomfortable as people that are more in the know. But knowledge is power. And I think we undermine that, especially in American society. We don't really value knowledge as much as we should. We always put the jock on the pedestal before the nerd. But knowledge is important. Not all of us are these violent, power-hungry people. Not all of us have money. Not all of us have influence. And when you don't have strength or the bronze, if you don't have influence, and if you don't have money, the only power, the only tool you can use is knowledge. And that is what I'm learning. That is what I'm learning. When you don't have money, strength, or influence, all you have is knowledge. And it's important to learn. So let's never burn books. I hope Florida one day unbans the books that they have banned right now. Ugh, gosh. And never be afraid to go into the darker parts of life, because they will help you grow as well. And yeah, If you don't know a lot about feminism, learn a fact today about feminism. Why is it important? Why do people care about it? How does it still apply in modern society, even when it feels like we already all have the rights that we have? I hope that made sense. I tripped over my words a little bit when I said that. I think something got stuck in my throat. I'm getting sleepy. It's way past my bedtime. But I wanted to make this video for you guys, and I hope to see you again soon. Mwah, kisses. Bye.